You're very welcome along to another video on Daniel Hussey Sport. This time I'm looking at the Cheltenham Festival, which gets underway on Tuesday. Potentially looking at doing daily videos. I'll see what the demand is there, just running through each individual race, giving a fancy and maybe a little bit on a couple of the main market rivals. So if there's any interest in that, leave comments there and let me know. But I am going to look at some changes that people might have missed in terms of the race times, race days, subtle changes for the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. But it is going to look a tad different. So I don't want people to get caught off guard when they sit down on a Tuesday morning and they go, where's the Mayor's Hurdle? And it's not on until Thursday. So I'll give you just what they've done in terms of the changes of the Cheltenham Festival, whether I agree with them or not, whether there's some good changes, some interesting changes, some TBC, depending how the week goes. And yeah, I'll be interested to get your thoughts on that. So let's kick off with just the race time. So I have this done for Tuesday and Wednesday. See, can you spot the difference? So I know I'm talking to racing fans here, but I know a lot of casual fans that I get obsessed for 4 days with the Cheltenham Festival. It's brilliant. It brings everyone out, and I actually absolutely love it. Honestly, cannot wait for Tuesday. I really can't. The Supreme Novice Hurdle and the Arkle kick us off on Tuesday. So the exact same. We're all good there. And we've got a really open Supreme, by the way. It's going to be the most open in years. And I feel we have 3 or 4 superstars, potential superstars there, like Old Park Star from Nicky Henderson, and you got Talk to Talk, and you got Willie Mullins having horses there too. Kairos for Gordon Elliott off the back of a maiden hurdle win, but heavily fancied as well. And then you have the Arkle. Hopefully we get Lulamba, who was second in the Triumph last year, obviously, versus Kopik de Board, who won the Supreme last year. So a lot of good potential battles we have in those first couple of races. But here's when the changes happen. So basically, they've decided to move the Mayor's Hurdle to Thursday, right? So they've taken the Mayor's out of the Tuesday to make Thursday a little bit better, because it doesn't have a featured race. Like the 3 featured races at the festival for 99% of people is the Champion Hurdle, Champion Chase, Gold Cup. The Stayers and the Ryanair have sort of vied for what's the best out of the 4th and 5th best races in terms of open company. So they've always bundled the 2 together, and there's an interesting change in terms of the order there. It's usually the Stayers that is the featured race, but they've thrown the Mares in there to basically beef that up. But we are left with 4 handicaps on the Tuesday, which is very interesting, because I've grown up in the Ruby Tuesday, Willie Tuesday, Mullins Tuesday, 4 favs. Are we back in the 4 favs? Nicky Henderson's been involved with Constitution Hill and a fav in the Supreme or a fav in the Arkle, So the Fred Winter had been moved to the Tuesday for the last couple of years. It is now going to be 2:40, effectively replacing the Ultima Handicap Chase, which pushes back one to the 3 slot. And then we have the 4 o'clock slot. Remember, these times were changed, I think, last year in terms of having new race times, 40 minutes in between races, and the featured race is 5th and not 4th in the card. So I hope people are still with me. I don't have to start this again. But we got the 4 o'clock featured race every single day, and that is, of course, the Champion Hurdle. But they basically decided not to run the Fred Winter before the Champion Hurdle, run a Chase before the Champion Hurdle, little things like that. Basically, we've the Fred Winter 2:40, the Ultima's now pushed back one, 3:20, and we've the Champion Hurdle. We've also got the plate that comes into the Tuesday card to replace the Mayor's Hurdle, which goes to the Thursday, so they effectively swap. And we've the National Hunt Chase, which for last year was the first time it was ran as a handicap and not as a level weights race, basically. So that's 5:20, and that concludes the Tuesday. So still a bit of tradition there. So we've left about 80% of the tradition, but 4 handicaps on Tuesday. That's very important for people to be aware. It is not good. Like, it's hard enough as it is to find winners at Cheltenham Festival. Hard enough in the Tuesday, but it was seen as easiest maybe out of the 4 days. It's definitely not that now. 4 handicaps: the National Hunt Chase, the plate, the Ultima, Fred Winter. But to be fair, we've got 3 cracking grade 1s. Okay, relieved to hear for most people the Wednesday is pretty much unchanged from last year. So again, with those new race times from last year, it is effectively going to be the same thing. There is one small change I'll touch on in a second, but the Turner's 1:20, the Brown Advisory 2 o'clock. So 2 grade 1s to kick us off on the Wednesday. It's formerly the Carl Cup. I'll get into that in a second. That's 2:40. The Cross Country Chase, which is now before the Champion Chase. So that's 3:20. Champion Chase, which was set up to be an absolute cracker between Magebra and Marine Nationale. The latter, unfortunately, a non-runner there now, but hopefully maybe 1 or 2 horses might defect here. We'll see. But potentially looking like a really short price on Magebra, which is a pity because it's probably the most open festival in years. Very few odds on shots. That's the first one. So that's frustrating. And then the Grand Annual and obviously the Champion Bumper concludes each and every Wednesday. The Get Out race, of course. So yeah, the Carl Cup for the last 25 years was the Cup Handicap Hurdle when I did this list 2 weeks ago, but is now going to be called the Bet MGM Cup. So formerly the Carl Cup. For people that don't want to be confused, that is the most open handicap, or known as one of the most open handicaps, and you can only need to look at the anti-post betting at the time of recording, how big prices the favourites and top 2 or 3 are in the market. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Before I get to Thursday and Friday, actually, I've been doing this for maybe a couple of months, and 90% plus people who watch aren't subscribed. It makes a massive difference to the channel if you can take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button and that like button, and help me continue making these videos. I love doing them. Let's go Thursday and Friday. So Thursday, right. Okay, so a lot going on here. We now have the Ryanair in the featured slot, 4 o'clock. The Stayers is 3:20. The Mares Hurdle is 2:40. So in fairness, for what used to be the weakest of the 4-day, it was effectively the 4th day that got added in. You've got 3 grade ones back to back. You've got a Mares Novice Hurdle, 1:20. And then the Jack Richards Novice Handicap, 2 o'clock. And then you've got the Pertemps, which was at the start of the day, or maybe the second race on a Thursday, is now later in the card, but on the same day, 4:40, and the Muir keeping with tradition at 5:20. So the big changes really are from Tuesday and Thursdays in terms of the running order, but similar-ish enough. Now, the Jack Richards Novice Handicap was only brought back this year. It had been a similar, basically the same race ran previous to that. The likes of Arkle had won. So the Novice Chase is, just so you know, we used to have a 2-mile novice, a 3-mile novice, and a 2.5-mile novice was known as the JLT, the Turners, for if you want to remember. That's now a handicap. It's the Jack Richards Novices Handicap. It's over 2.5, and you have the 3-mile or the 2-mile. And what that's done, it means horses, graded horses who are having their first season over fences, can only run over 2 miles or 3 miles at the Cheltenham Festival. And it does mean there's a bit less ducking and diving, and it means the likes of Romeo Coolio, who looks like, for example, from Gordon, we won a lot of grade ones this year. I think 3 grade ones. You're looking at him as a 2.5 miler right now, and he can only run a 2 mile or 3 miles. So whether he even goes to Cheltenham, but it is good. It is good to be great to see him in an Arkle having to run as fast as he can, or in a 3 mile where they maybe bury him, see can he stay the trip. So I digress a little bit there, but that just explains what's happening there with the changes. That's Thursday. On to Friday, we have what is nearly the same as most Cheltenham years. So for those only tuning in for the Friday is the biggest betting day. Like, there are some crazy stats. I was looking at one the other day. 2022, the Hunter's Chase was like the 8th most bet horse race in Britain, which is crazy because it wouldn't make the top 1,000 races, do you know what I mean, in terms of quality. But that's just because it's on the Cheltenham Gold Cup card, as you can see. 120 with the Triumph. County, 2 o'clock. The Mares Chase brought forward for I think last year that was the first time that happened. That's 2:40. Again, to make the Albert Bartlett 3:20, and then to make the featured race, which is of course the featured race of the week, the Cheltenham Gold Cup. That's 4 o'clock, and then it concludes with the Hunter's Chase 4:40 and the Martin Pipe at 5:20. So I hope we explained those changes in terms of the race card. 90% of it is the same, but I think the big change for most people, and I want people to be aware of this, is that Cheltenham Tuesday when they turn on and there's 4 handicaps to figure out from the race card. It's like, where's my ACCA here? Where's my favorite ACCA? But we still have 3 cracking grade ones, hopefully in the Supreme, Arkle, and Champion Hurdle. And I'm really looking forward to Cheltenham Week. And I can't emphasize enough, it is the most open looking Cheltenham festival in years. Very much looking forward to that. If there is any interest in daily videos, let me know either through Twitter or in the comments, and hopefully I'll chat to you next week.